Welcome to my first episode of my podcast, It's Hard to Write Music in Hospital Rooms. This is Annalise speaking. This is an introduction to everything about my podcast. As you can take from the title, I'm going to be talking about music and various things that play into the way your body and mind work when you are writing. Think about your favorite place to be alone, how you feel in that space, the way your mind works. You probably thought about something like your home and how you feel comfortable and easygoing. Now compare that to your least favorite place, such as a boring classroom or even a hospital room. These settings are vastly different, and just existing in such different areas plays a huge part in how your mind works. Creativity can be difficult to come by, especially if you're in a place where your mind cannot fluctuate and adjust. There have been countless studies and experiments on this subject, but I'd like to share my own personal experience on how my writing of music has been affected by setting and other circumstances. I've been playing instruments since I can remember, but I didn't really start writing music until about 2.5 years ago. I first started solo and would keep myself cooped up in my blank wall, non-decorated, freshly moved into room. From hearing that, you can probably assume what the results of my writing was. Boring. There was no inspiration, nothing in my subconscious besides my blank white walls. Eventually, I developed more of a taste in setting, and I learned how to take inspiration from things around me and allowed myself to just be. Since developing these habits, there has been an enormous amount of change in the way my music has turned out. Although a lot more than just setting changed into these differences. Time, people I chose to be around, practice, all these things affected my writing. I began writing music with my friends and we let our creativity flow together. This changed my projection of music. I began to learn new techniques and discover different genres of music I never thought I could use as inspiration. When I began writing music with my friends and changed settings, I noticed the most growth I've seen in myself. This is what I find the most interesting because it is surprising just how much can change before you notice. Looking back now, I find it so intriguing that I decided to start a podcast on it. In future episodes, I want to go much further into the things I've introduced, and I'd also like to have some of my bandmates and friends who are involved in the music scene on to talk about their experiences as well. Although for the first episode, I think I've introduced most of the basics of my podcast. I'm excited to see how this goes, but for now, let's call it a wrap. Thank you for listening in.